Hello guys, I was planning to make this video for a few days now, and now I finally decided to go through with it. So, about me, I'm Winter. I've been the rank 1 player on the Europe server for the bloodstorm class for probably since release day. I've been varying between like rank 1 and rank 3 with the Chinese, and I've been around top 10 to top 20 the entire time. Anyways, I might include some screenshots here from earlier days, but that doesn't matter right now. This video is gonna be only focused on PvE gameplay. I don't do any PvP in this game. I've been asked so many countless times by so many people now how to play this class, what to do, what to focus on. So I decided, considering there's no real information out there for the English speaking community. I know there's a lot of Chinese content. So I thought, why not make a guide and help everyone understand the class, the role of this character in the PvE segment of the game. So to start off, I would like to talk about the role of this character and class in the PvE segment. In most of the content, you're just purely DPSing. I mean, in the real content, these are not real content segments. Mostly in all of these fights and all the raids fights, there's basically nothing to do besides dodging red circles and hitting bosses. But for example, in the 6 envoys fight, you actually are gonna be playing an off-tank position most of the time. Depends if there's another bloodstorm that wants to play the mechanic. Otherwise, in all of these fights, you're basically just dodging and hitting the boss. So mostly you're just on a very fragile high DPS build. You're not planning on playing any defensive stats in the PvE segment. There's no point. You just want raw damage output. So I've decided to make a pros and cons list. So my pros and cons for this character would be that it's very flexible in the terms of playstyle you can play with the skills and abilities. You're a bit locked into some skills that are really mandatory to play and deal the highest DPS possible, but you have flex spots. I personally find this class very fun. And I mean, it's probably the most fun melee in the game. What else is there? I guess you can list it as a con. It's not as a con, as a pro. It's a very good PvP side-wise, but I'm not going to talk about PvP, so yeah. I think the cons outweigh the pros in that sense, but as long as you're having fun, it doesn't matter anyway. So my pros that I listed are that you lose a lot of DPS the second the boss starts moving, or the second you have to stop your animations, because this character is very demanding on the frames you're gonna be DPS locked in. You're gonna be animation locked in the animation, and if you cancel the animation, you're gonna lose a lot of the DPS part of the animation. And when you craft your build together and you actually have your playstyle set, you're very locked in a priority system. The way you want to combo your spells together and use your basic combo. It might be very repetitive at some point for some people, but MMO after all, and you have a lot of build options you could probably be using. And my last con point is that I think that being melee in these type of games is a huge disadvantage in some fights. There's very rarely a fight where being melee helps over being a ranged character, because most of the time you're gonna have to dodge skills like frontals and such that wouldn't apply to you if you're ranged and you actually know your range perfectly and you space correctly. Let's talk about gears and stats distribution, especially about practice, but first of all about gear. So the gearing point of this game is very simple. There is a combat number. The combat power number is very irrelevant for DPS gain and loss. You have to more look at the stats of the individual pieces, what they give you, what you want. So the stats we want to focus on is might attack. We want to be above 420 hit. You want as much boss damage bonus as possible. You also want as much crit as possible. And any elemental attack and Death Break is very welcome. Death Break is also very, very good stat. So you would like to focus on might attack, Death Break, crit and boss damage bonus, and you want to be above 420 hit. And crit obviously as high as possible as well. And for the stat distribution, there's the free options of attack, vitality and defense, and obviously the free allocation that you should be using. And basically all you do is you throw every point into strength, and every point you can't throw into strength you throw into agility for PvE purposes. And when it comes to the gear, the most important thing is basically what they do via relic effects and what they give on base stats and affixes. I would always focus on getting everything that says deals more damage. It doesn't matter if you take more damage. It doesn't matter at all if you take more damage. It's only about dealing more damage for the PvE segment. For PvP obviously there's a different focus on everything, but that we don't talk about it in this video. So at this point in the game, in the full end game, we have the sets bonuses that we want to achieve now. So that should be your entire focus right now if you're in the state that I am. But for the early game, basically anything that has crit on it, very good. Anything that says strength or boss damage bonus like this ring, very good. And yeah, highest level weapon also very good. And yeah, let's talk as the last point of this video about the crafting system. So you can enhance all your gear. You should just enhance all your gear. You should always focus on the DPS pieces first, so weapon, necklace, rings and trinkets, and then you should slowly work your way on the armor and stuff, but that doesn't really matter. So what I want to talk about is the crafting. The crafting is very, 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 very important. You want the right bonuses, even though this only is red. This increases my DPS by like 15 to 20% compared to the gold one and the purple one I have, because they're very mid DPS options. I mean, Crimson Blaze is the second best option you have, but Mountain Breaker outshines it by like miles. These ones don't matter. I mean, this one doesn't matter. The one on your chest. This is only stats. And the one in your boots, you would want to have Tidebreaker or Crane's Cry. Yeah, or Abyssal Wall is also good. These are the three you can use. I wouldn't use Valid Sun. That's no point. So Tidebreaker you would likely want to have on gold, because gold gives crit damage. But I'm not that lucky, so yeah. You should always take the highest one, obviously, you have, if you don't have any of the options I just listed. And for the necklace, you can see I'm using a blue one, even though I have a red and purple one. Or I even have a purple one, no red one, doesn't matter. So you have 6 options here, and your entire damage comes from your thrust combo. You're not using Seer Dragon's Roar, you shouldn't be at least. You don't need to get Rage Recovery. You don't want ultimate skill buff, that doesn't matter either. You could use Silver Strokes or Cosmos Sweeper, but it's irrelevant damage compared to Thrust. So you want Thrust on this, and you want Mountain Break on this. The socket system is very easily explained. Just socket all your gear with the sockets on the right. You can see the sets. And then level up every socket like this to the highest level you can at that point. When you get every socket to level 3 or 4, I'm working on 4, the middle effect, the set bonus effect, is going to increase by 1 level. It's aligning to your sockets that are placed in there. You should focus on your weapons first, then your rings, and then your necklace. They give the highest stat values in terms of DPS gain. Yeah, that's about it, about the gearing. So now, at this point in the video, I want to talk about the skills I'm currently using and my current PvE setup that I'm playing. I'm only using 3 of the school skills from the bloodstorm. I will go into detail why I'm using them after I've explained why I'm using the other things. So my other 2 skills I'm using are as follows. It's first of all, it's Tiger Strike. It's basically the best DPS option you have in the early game that you're going to use a lot, like permanently actually. This is not a flexible spot, this is the lock-in slot you're going to have to use. There's no point around it, there's no way around it. So basically all Tiger Strike does is it gives you a very high DPS window for 15 seconds. But it's also going to increase your damage taken and aggro gain. And I'm going to go on the aggro gain part in the rotation part of the video. And the other skill I'm using is the Night Waker Meteoric spell. Basically all this does is it gives you a very good filler into your rotation, and it especially amplifies a lot of your combined damage in your rotation, because it basically gives you a 6-second DPS window that you would normally not have without it. My other 2 skills I'm using are first of all Boundless Insight. That's a no-brainer. It's flat crit damage increase, best stats you can have. And the other skill I'm using is the Blacksmith, the Rise of the Blade spell. I mean, if you've played this game before, you should know that this is the best DPS option in the game, in the early game for sure. This might rotate out later with following patches, but I'm not sure about that yet. Basically, all you want to do is stack this to 6. I mean, first of all, you need to get it to level 5. So you basically need to seek in the Heroes tab with the hero invites. You need to get it 6 times to unlock the Divine Weapon, Sky Soar. Significantly extends the buff duration. If enhancement reaches +6, duration becomes 3600 seconds. So yeah, you desperately need this, otherwise this skill is useless. If you don't have this, you can just use Heart Bloom. Is it? You can just use Heaven Strike. Sorry, that's what I meant. This one. You can just use Heaven Strike Bloom. But you should really have this. Rise of the Blade is very detrimental early game. I'm still using it, so it's still relevant in the late game as well right now of the game. And the ultimate spell I chose is the base Bloodstorm ult. It's just the best in DPS overall. It also gives you a lot of versatility in dodging, boss mechanics, and yeah, it's very good. I would use it. You could also use Remnant Trisander or Lotus Blaze if you want. This depends on what you like more, but this is the highest DPS option you have. It also combos very well with spells, but I'm gonna go over this in the rotation. So in this segment of this video, I would like to talk about my willpower setup and why I'm using it and what you should be using. And I'm gonna also talk about what beginners should be aiming for, because I'm currently playing the min-maxed version of the highest DPS setup you can have. but it might not be accessible for everyone from the get-go. So first of all, I'm using triple metal, 2 wood and 1 fire. You might ask why wood instead of fire. The second part of the wood level 2 is very, very, very detrimental in our DPS. And you will also notice the 4% school skill CD reduction is very useful, comparing it to just another dot. Considering you can also substitute a severe injury with another spell from Nomina Secret Study, but I'm gonna go talk about the new secret studies after this. So I prepared 2 more pictures. So this is taken from the Sword of Justice Discord, especially from the Bloodstorm segment in the Discord. It's a pinned picture, but this is a very good beginner start if you're just starting to play the game and you're starting to understand the systems. This is also what I recommend to anyone that starts playing Bloodstorm and just wants to play and doesn't want to fully min-max everything. So yeah, basically it's nearly exactly the same setup as I'm playing skill-wise. You can see, besides roaring Dragon Roar, that's where I substituted with the Secret Study spell from Nightwaker, but that's about it. And they're recommending triple metal, triple fire. You can play this. I'm personally not a fan of it, especially because the actual good version of free metal, free fire is using dual elements, and getting a good dual element is near impossible, especially in the early game. But the second option of this is very accessible and you can get this very easily. They're also recommending these traits that I'm also highly recommending. All 5 of those, and the mastery of Celestune as well. But I'm gonna go about traits and secret study shortly. They're also recommending the crafting options, but I'm also gonna recommend this, and I'm also gonna talk about the practice. So this is for another moment. So now we're gonna talk about our traits we're gonna use. So you can see that I'm only using one of our class traits we get by default. And that's the one that just basically increases all your damage for every constitution point you have. It's very good. No need to talk about it. The second one you will probably get is the Celestune Heaven's Ballade. I mean, basically just damage increase. You can read. It makes perfect sense to use this. The next one is gonna be the Nightwaker passive. Basically just stats, crit damage, crit. I mean, sorry, only crit, not crit damage. This one gives crit damage from Nomina, our next one. These level up by time. So every week you're gonna level up these passively. You don't need to do anything for them. You just need to do your secret study. And the last trait we're gonna use is Thread of Love. If you don't know how Thread of Love works, you need to be teaming up with somebody you have above. I mean, it basically says it there if you read it, but you basically have to be playing with a friend where you have a lot of friendliness with, to be exact 3k. And you're gonna get 6% attack increase of your attack. So it's very big. It's a very huge DPS increase. And yeah, that's what you should be doing. These are overall traits, like overworld traits. These are useless. They don't matter at all. And the big mastery from Celestune is very, very good. But we most likely be swapping this out for Nomina's trait. I need to do more testing for that. I can only say something about that next week when I have Nomina's mastery trait. But for now, this is the best one for sure. Okay, for the last part of our traits, skills, willpowers segment in the video is the secret study. So what you want to focus on first week you're going to do, you want to get Celestune study. And you want to do it twice to unlock the so-called trait we just talked about, Element Ballet, I'm pretty sure it's called. Second week, you're gonna focus on Nightwaker. You're also probably gonna use 2 or 3 secret studies to get the Meteoric spell. If you wanna actually min-max, like I did, not will, and get the trait. And the third week, you're gonna use the secret studies on Numina. And just for the trait, and also for the ability. It's a very good ability, and it gives a 12-second damage increase buff. But it's only severe injury. It's not, personally not as good as the Meteoric one. But that can be debated. The numbers are very close. So in this part of the video, I want to talk about the basic rotation you're going to be aiming for every single time, basically. When you're going to fight a boss, most of the rotations don't only apply to the bosses. You don't really need a rotation to clear overworld enemies. So first of all, you're going to go into Tiger Stance. Then you're going to jump with Meteoric on the enemy, and the second the frame you land, you instantly press Abyssal Leap, your ultimate spell. So it's gonna look like this. This is how it's gonna look, and that's what you should be doing every single time on every single boss start. And after that, when you land, you're gonna go into step, into thrusts, into 1, into this, and then you just continue with your combo, and then you're going to use a priority system. The priority system being that you basically spam your 3 school skills off cooldown, and you try to use Tiger Stance twice for every ult you use. So you always want a 2-to-1 ratio. But one of the most important things about playing this character is that you understand that you always want to combo Tiger Stance with your ultimate. And basically that's all the rotation you do. That's basically all the rotation you do. You can obviously do things like cancelling your animations. I can also show you that right now. So most of your animations are animation locked. For example, the step thrust combo. That one is your highest DPS combo by far. And the reason why this character actually functions so well. You can cancel most of your animations with most of your spells actually, if you know how to do it. So the third school spell, Cosmic Sweeper it's called, yes, has animation lock in it. But you can negate that animation lock if you know how to, and without losing damage. So basically, when you cast the first part of Cosmic Sweeper, you can cancel it with Meteoric in the middle of the animation without losing DPS. You gain like 0.5 seconds on the damage uptime, but it's actually noticeable. I will show you. You see? You can cancel the animation fully, but it still does full damage. You can use Resolve Might, the first school spell on the left side. You can use it in any animation. It doesn't matter what you do. You can use it in any animation, in any button you press. Yeah, that's basically it about the rotation. There isn't much to say. So now I'm gonna show a full rotation. I'm gonna do 3 cycles, so you can see my potential DPS output and such, and the way I press my buttons.
I don't wanna see your face. If I'm out, I don't wanna hear your name. When I come around, I don't know why you're here, why you're back in town, but it's killing me, dear, and it's bringing me down. Get out of my mind, get out of my
So before I end the video and go into the outro, I have little tips and tricks for you guys if you want to even more maximize your DPS and rotation. So my first trick I always do is, you can, if you are in bare minimum range of not hitting the enemy, like the absolute maximum distance from him that you're not hitting him, you can use thrust. Then you need to go left and right and dash. You need to use A and D, doesn't matter, and then you need to dash. And then you will, most of the time, it's very inconsistent bug, but you have the chance, like you see, you have the chance to gain passive stacks without hitting the enemy. And that is a very huge DPS increase. 1 already is enough. 2 is even better, because you have to go into step thrust after using your Tiger Stance Meteoric Abyssal. But yeah, if you get very consistent at this, you can always stack up to 3. I mostly do this. It's very inconsistent, and I'm not sure what determining factor there is, but yeah, this is one of the reasons why I assume one of the highest DPS dealing bloodstorms on the server, because this is always what I do. It's very inconsistent, but it does work. And my second advice for min-maxers out there is that you should... I'm not advising to hit the boss first and start the fight when it's not coordinated. But when the fight is supposed to start in a few seconds, you can be the first one to hit. But now I'm telling you why you should be doing that. So if you use Tiger Stance and then press ult, and you're the first one to hit, this applies to any DPS, your ult will instantly reset if you're the first one to hit. And then you can instantly press Abyssal Leap again. And it will fully cancel the animation of jumping upwards. And you will instantly be able to jump down again with like 0.25 seconds delay. And that's a very high DPS increase if you can do that. That's what I always do most of the time, if I'm allowed to do that. And yeah, that's about it. That's my little tips and advice. So now, as my little outro, I guess, I might be starting to upload more consistently in terms of like guides, tips and tricks videos, maybe even updates on the current build that I would be recommending. This was serving more of a beginner guide for the people that's starting to play the class character and wanted a more detailed view on how to play the class. But feel free to ask questions in the comments, obviously, and don't forget to subscribe and like, I guess. And share the video to all your friends that want to play the class. Thank you for watching, I guess, and see you on the next one.